Hello, everybody from Work Experience. I am recording at home, and so this might be a little clunky, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to learn what we're doing today is we're going to watch this video, take notes, and you're going to turn in a picture of the notes to Classroom because what I want you to do if you're in class and you have the paper version, I want you to take the paper version home. There's three challenges. I want you to actually try to do those this week, and then next week on Monday, the Monday question is going to ask you, hey, how'd you do on challenge one? How'd you do on challenge two? How'd you do on challenge three? And then the other thing is, you guys know that every time we meet, you should turn something in. So this time we're turning in these notes, but as soon as you turn those notes in, I want you to go on to do any assignments that have a zero. All right, we're going to talk about the personal bank account first. Do this worksheet by yourself. And when I say worksheet, I'm talking about this thing right here. So if you go to Classroom, you should be able to find this assignment. So start filling this out. What is your name? And then right now I'm going to tell you what is a personal bank account. Answer that right on there. Okay, so let's keep going. But before we answer that question, let's review the 7 habits. So far we've done be proactive, begin with the end in mind, and put first things first. These are the personal victories, right? So these are the things that you kind of do on your own to become a better person. So the private victory will help you become independent so that you can say, I'm responsible for myself and create my own destiny. You kind of become the person you want to become. And then you can start working on the public victory, be, which is you becoming interdependent. Like you can sure you're responsible for yourself, but you want to be able to work with other people. You want to be a team player, and you actually want to be able to influence other people for good. And so start next week we're going to talk about the habit number 4, think win-win. But right now we're going to talk about the personal bank account. All right, so here's the answer to that second question. What's the PBA? A personal bank account is how you feel about yourself. It's like a it's how you feel about yourself is like a personal bank account. If you like do things to make you feel good about yourself, you're building your personal bank account. If you do bad things that make you feel bad about yourself, you're taking withdrawals from your bank, just like a bank account where you can put money in or take money out. So you can make deposits or withdrawals by the things that you think, say, or do. If you stick to a commitment, that's a good thing. You feel good about yourself. It's like a deposit. If you break a promise to yourself, or if you think super bad negative thoughts about yourself, it's like a withdrawal. Okay. All right. So if you have a bad personal bank account, so if you're taking more withdrawals than deposits, you can cave into peer pressure. You can wrestle with feelings of depression and inferiority. You can be concerned about what other people think overly. You can act arrogant to try to hide your insecurities. You can get involved in self-destructive habits. Here's an interesting one. You can get jealous easily when someone close to you succeeds. So like that's a bad sign. So if one of your good friends does really well and that bothers you because you feel jealous of it, it's like okay, you might need to add to your personal bank account. Um, so what I want you guys to do on the worksheet is on the notes, circle or highlight the ones that are unhealthy for you and put a line through or underline the ones that are healthy. So let's take a look and see what that's going to look like. So we're going to go over here to the worksheet. So over here, so here's a list of them. So some of them are good for you, some of them are bad, right? And so on that worksheet right there, what you're going to do is you're going to circle or highlight the ones that are unhealthy for you that you're not doing well with, and then put a line through or underline the ones that you're doing well at. All right. Here's possible symptoms of a healthy PBA so that you stand up for yourself and resist peer pressure. You're not overly concerned about being popular. You see life as a positive experience. You trust yourself. You are goal driven. You are happy for the success of others. So you can kind of see where you're at on this whole thing. Okay, so the idea is like every day you want to make deposits on this thing, build your self esteem, become the kind of person you want to be, and you want to eliminate the withdrawals. So learn to keep promises to yourself. Don't break promises. Right? Do small acts of kindness, or you can keep yourself. Right? So you want to do the things on this side and avoid the things on this side. All right, let's talk more about these things. Keep promises to yourself. So, an examples would be I'm going to get my homework done right after I get home and have my snack, or I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock and do a workout 2 days a week. Things like this. Okay, those are examples. So, on the worksheet, I want you to write down an easy promise you will keep this week to make small deposits, something that you haven't been doing a good job at that you can do. So, something that will be meaningful for you. So, write that down on the worksheet. The other thing is to do small acts of kindness. Idea examples are say hello to someone who's lonely, write a thank you note to a friend, a parent, a teacher, sibling. Um, Easy one in Deo. Just say, hey, I'm gonna pay for the Deo for the car behind me. Um, so think of a small act of kindness that you could do this week. Now, this one's interesting because even though you're doing it for someone else and it's good for them, doing acts of kindness is just as good or better for you than it is for the person you're doing that kind act for. So, another way to add to the personal bank account. Um, okay, so what is a small act of kindness that you could do this week? Um, Same. Okay, I had two of the same things. All right. Be gentle with yourself. So if you do something stupid and you're like, you start to talk mentally like, oh, you're an idiot or something like that. You got to be gentle with yourself. Don't expect to be perfect. You can't be perfect. You want to be working towards being better. You want to work towards being the best you can be, but don't expect yourself to be perfect. Forgive yourself when you make mistakes, and don't allow negative self-talk. Right, and sometimes that's difficult. I can't remember who it was. There was an old pastor, and he'd say it's like one thing if you like a bird flies over your head, right? But it's a different thing if you actually have a bird making a nest in your hair. And what the idea is like, okay, sure, you're gonna have weird thoughts, you're gonna have negative thoughts. If just let them fly over. But if you like dwell on it, it'd be weird, like having a bird building a nest on your hair. It's like that would be pretty odd, right? But that's kind of the example of when you allow too much negative self-talk. All right, on your worksheet, in what way do you need to be gentle with yourself this week? So, what's a goal you could set for being gentle and easy on yourself? Be honest. Be yourself. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Um, don't lie is another version of it. Don't try to be someone you're not. Don't try to act like you're somebody that you're not. But also be honest at school, with your parents, and at work. So, in what way could you be more honest this week? You being a better version of yourself instead of trying to be somebody else. And how could you just tell the truth? Don't like not cheating on tests, not stealing food from work, so on and so forth. Okay. So, in what way could you be more honest this week? Um, Renew yourself. So take time for yourself. Okay. So you can't be relaxing all the time, right? But if you're not relaxing at all, you need to. Okay. Take time to play or get exercise. Make sure you get a good night's sleep. So in what way could you renew yourself this week? Question number 8 on the worksheet. All right, tap into your talents. Another way to build up your bank account is like find something you're really good at. So it could be a sport, it could be leadership, it could just be being kind to people, it could be painting, being creative. So it's good to come up with a talent, hobby, or interest that you could develop this week. So answer that for number 9. Okay, so here's the first challenge. We said at the beginning that you're going to have a challenge this week that we're going to follow up with on the Monday question. And so, challenge number 1 this week is your personal bank account challenge. So, like we did a list of a few things. So, pick one or two that's meaningful to you and circle it or highlight it if you're doing it digitally. Um, so which one is going to be your goal, your main goal for the week? Okay, which one of the previous personal deposits will you try and do this week? Rewrite it down on the worksheet or the notes, and I'm going to ask you how you did for the Monday question again. All right. So now that's your personal bank account. That's you dealing with yourself. Now we're going to start talking about you with other people. So there's a relationship bank account. Now, before we get started with that, on the worksheet, circle this. How are your relationships with your friends? 1 being lousy, 5 excellent. Your siblings, your parents, girlfriend or boyfriend if you have one, your teachers. So answer that on the worksheet. Okay. What is your personal bank account? It's your ability to get along with others. and it's going to really determine how successful you are in your career and your level of your personal happiness. I mean, some people can be total jerks and be successful in their career, but probably not super happy in their personal life. But if you have good relationships, more than likely it will help in your career, definitely help in your personal happiness. Um, so, what is the relationship bank account? This is we're going to answer this in the notes. This goes anything in red is as a note. It's the amount of trust and confidence you have in each of your relationships. Um, uh, so you can make deposits every in a relationship and improve the relationship, or in the same way as with yourself, you can take withdrawals and weaken it. Okay, so a strong and healthy relationship is always a result of steady, positive deposits over a long period of time. So if you're kind to somebody and you listen to people and you talk with people on a daily basis, well, eventually you're going to be friends, right? Because you're building a consistent relationship. In the same way, if you're rude to somebody all the time, it's like, well, you're going to have a relationship, but it's going to be negative. Okay. So an interesting thing about the relationship bank account is you have a relationship bank account with everyone you meet, right? So, for example, you come across a new kid and you say hi, you talk to him, ask him where he came from, how was his day, right? And you open up a bank account and you put some deposits in there, and it becomes a positive relationship. On the other hand, if you totally ignore him, you also open a bank account, right? But this time it's negative because it's like, oh, the new kid's like, oh, there's a guy and I'm new and they're totally ignoring me, right? So one way or another, you have a relationship, but it could be positive or negative. Um, so the one thing about the relationship bank account is is you can't just stick stuff in there and it stays forever, right? So oftentimes it starts to fade away and disappear. So that's why you need to work on making deposits every single day. So you need to continually make small deposits in your most important relationships just to keep them in the positive. People, you expect that. Your best friend expects you to talk to them on occasion and to listen to them and expects you to reach out and try to spend time with them, right? Okay, so here's ways to do deposits, positive, negative withdrawals. So keep promises or break promises. Do small acts of kindness or keep yourself. Be loyal, or you can gossip and break confidences. You can listen, or you can not listen. Okay? You can say you're sorry when you've done something wrong, or you can be arrogant and refuse to say you're sorry. You can set clear expectations or set false expectations. That one's a little bit tricky. We'll talk about that one a little bit more. All right. Keeping promises. So keeping small commitments and promises is vital to building trust. If you say you're going to be somewhere, be there. If you say you're going to call, call. So question number 13 is, what is a small commitment or promise to someone that you can keep this week? Okay, in order to build a relationship. And keep secrets. Don't talk behind people's backs. Avoid gossip. Stick up for other people. Right. So if somebody's bad mouthing somebody, either your friend or even just an acquaintance, just you can stick up for them. Like, hey, don't say that. You don't need to. Like, why do you feel the need to badmouth somebody? All right. So how can you be loyal to a friend or an acquaintance this week? At work too. So obviously this is work experience. So a lot of this stuff goes for your relationships at work. How can you do small acts of kindness? Say hello, write a kind note, smile, give somebody a compliment if they look nice, give somebody a hug if they need it. All these things can make a difference in somebody's day, right? So at school and at work, what is a small act of kindness towards someone that you could do this week? So that's question number 15. It's in red. You can listen to people, right? If you're always talking and not listening, that's not helpful. Listen and ask questions when you are in an argument or when someone is having a hard day, or just in general, just for people in general. People like being listened to. People like having you ask them questions about how they're doing. So, how can you listen and ask questions to somebody this week? That's question number 16. If you're in an argument or if you're disagreeing with somebody or you do something bad, how can you say you're sorry this week? And it could just be for your part. Like if you did something bad and your friend did something bad, right? You guys are in conflict. You don't have to apologize for what they did, but you can apologize for your part in it. You can apologize for how your actions made somebody feel. Okay, so how can you say you're sorry this week in what situation? Um, okay, so set clear expectations. So, for example, like if you get a job and they say, "Hey, I might need you to work on Saturdays, but you have to babysit your little brother every Saturday." Well, don't lead them to believe that you can do that. Be clear up front. No, I can't. I'm never going to be able to work on Saturdays. I have to take care of my little brother. Same thing in a relationship. Like if you go on a date with somebody and you're like, yeah, give me a call. I'd like to, we can hang out again. And you like have no desire to do that. Well, don't do that. That's not okay. Like just say, hey, thank you for the date. I'd like to be friends with you, but that's as far as this is going. And then it's like, sure, that's difficult and it's a little bit hurtful at the moment, but it's less hurtful than you building false expectations and somebody thinking, oh man, I've got this relationship going when you really don't. Okay, so at work and at school, how can you set clear expectations this week? Question number 18. All right, so challenge number two. So for your personal, or pardon me, for your relational bank accounts. So of the things that you wrote down, which one is actually something that you could actually want to work on this week that would make a difference? So which one of the previous personal deposits will you try and do this week? Circle or highlight the one that you want to actually work on. Okay. And then again, on the Monday question, I'm going to ask you how you did that. So you're going to have one challenge is for your personal bank account, one is for your relational bank account. And finally, here's a personal challenge. So pick one important relationship in your life that's damaged or not as good as it could be, parent, friend, sibling, coworker, boss at work. Now commit yourself to rebuilding that relationship, not on. It should be one deposit at a time. Okay, the other person may be suspicious at first, but be patient and stick with it. And the other thing to think about too, and this is hard, and maybe harder for people your age and from somebody my age, because at my age you kind of, I think you start to get over yourself a little bit. But so even if it's somebody you don't like, that's a good one to pick too. Like if you have a boss or a coworker that you don't like at work, um, do it with that person. Do the this personal challenge with them. If they're rude to you, be kind to them. Like that doesn't make you a weak person. That makes you a super strong person. So if you pick a relationship that you need to fix, or pick a relationship at work that could be better. Okay, so what is your personal challenge this week? Write that down. Number 20. Okay, now your job is to take a picture of your finished worksheet, both sides, turn that in here to Google Classroom, and take your paper home and work on those as a reminder to work on those things this week. Let's see if I can turn this thing off.